Welcome to the 1st of February, my first live of the month. First day of the month, first live. Why not? Let's go. 28 days in the month of February. What's everybody's plans for February? I'm going to go through what my month of February is going to look like. It's going to be quite a hectic month, actually. It's going to be pretty busy the next 6 weeks to 2 months, really. So February and March will be reasonably busy time for me. I got to do my content. Uh, that's actually not true because I don't actually have to do it. I love doing it. I really enjoy thinking about the things that I want to talk about and how I want to say them. So that's a little bit misleading when creators say that they have to do their content because you don't have to do it. There's no rule. I don't work for anybody. It's my choice if I get to do it, but I actually love doing it. Maybe so there's that. Uh, the increase in uploads from 2 to 3 times a week plus a live a week. Look, it's it's not that challenging. Uh, I kind of now find it a little bit funny when people are saying that it's the more uploads you do, the harder it is because you have to keep coming up with new ideas. For me, it's not like that at all because my content is talking about things that I enjoy talking about and then trying to incorporate a personal, relatable story for people to connect with my content. So, what I'm actually saying and that can help people out, I say it in a way where I'm not telling people to do things. I give examples of what I do and how it's affecting my life and changing the way that I'm going about it. So I'm really enjoying it, and I I don't know. I don't think that I can run out of material ever because I continue to learn more and things become more clear to me. Some of this information that I give out and what I talk about, oh, pardon me, I've known about it for years. I I studied it and I thought I understood it a few years ago. I really did. I thought, yeah, that makes sense. I get it. I know. And then when people would tell me, I'm like, yeah, I know that. That's I know. But the truth of the matter is, I didn't know. And it's not until you fully understand the concept of all these things or anything and you start applying them, then it sort of makes sense to what is going on. So that's the content thing. The other things that I've got going on is we're moving. We're going to leave Cyprus. We're done with Cyprus living. It's been great. It really has. It's been wonderful living here for the last bit over 2 years or 2 years. It's time for us to move on. It's time to find our what we really want in life. It's a funny thing as I talk a lot about law of attraction and getting things that you want to do and how you think about them. My wife and I were just talking the other day about this and how we ended up here in Cyprus. And we were talking about 4 years ago, 5 years ago, when we were talking about how we wanted to live our life and where we wanted to live. And we talked about living on an island. We said, how great will it be? We want to live on an island and yeah, kind of live that island life. And a few years later, here we are, we're living on an island in the Mediterranean. Another thing that I always said I wanted to do was live the Mediterranean life. And and we did without without too much going on. Like when we moved here, we came here for Christmas holidays from Romania. We were living in a house in Romania at the time, and we wanted to get away for Christmas, and we did. We decided, haven't been to Cyprus, let's go to Cyprus and visit Cyprus. So we're here for like I think 2 weeks, and during that 2 weeks, we received a phone call saying the house that we were in uh, was getting sold, and we needed to move. So we're like, "Wow, okay, where are we going to go?" And as we're having a conversation, we're like, "We like it here. We're moving anyway. Why don't we just move here?" And that's how we ended up living here in Cyprus. We left sometime in January. What was it? 2023, maybe 22. I can't remember now. And booked all our tickets and planes. And I remember people telling us here that, oh, like we told them we were coming back in 6 weeks. We booked our tickets to return on February 16th, I think it was. And that was about 6 weeks after we left. And people were saying, "What are you going to do when you get back here?" And we rented an apartment, um, kind of like a B&B style short-term accommodation. We rented that out for 10 days. So we had accommodation to come back to. And then when we got back here, people were telling us there's no way you're going to find a house or an apartment in 10 days. It's impossible. The rent's gone up. There's nowhere to, no way you could possibly get rent. And you're not going to get a place in those in 10 days. It's just not going to happen. But we set our minds to it. We said, we listened to people. We didn't belittle anybody or laugh at them and say, "Yeah, we will." Like we weren't cocky, I guess. We just said to ourselves, "We'll do it. Don't worry, we'll do it." And so we came back, and the very first day we bought a car. Uh, just so happens to be that car was across the street from where we were staying. So we just walked across quite literally, just walked across the road and bought a car. We had that car until I think last week, or yeah, last week we sold. We called him Max. He was a Volkswagen. I like to name my cars. I had Parry the Prado back in Australia, and then when we moved here and we bought the Volkswagen, burned German, I called him Max. uh, so yeah, we had Max for 2 years. We thought we'll only keep it for 6 months. We'll just until we find a place, and then will get us around and get us moved in, settled in, and then we'll probably get another car, or we might not even need a car. We don't know. But we ended up keeping Max for the whole 2 years that we were here. He turned into our beach car. We just had our beach chair set up in him, and we actually used him a lot. Excuse me. The funny thing is, we went and saw a real estate agent. We looked at straight away. So the next day after we come back, we saw a real estate agent. We started looking on sites to find places to rent, and we looked at, I remember, four, and one of them we really liked. It was up in the mountains in this nice little village, very pretty, but it didn't quite suit our needs, and we couldn't find if we could get the internet. And as we work remotely, we kind of internet was very important. It was more important than what the house or the flat was going to look like, because we can make do with anything, but we need the internet, because without the internet, we we would struggle to make any money. We'd have to probably go and get jobs, and that's not our that's not our ideal life. And because they couldn't answer on two of the places, if the internet was available, we couldn't take them and without that sort of knowledge. And that's how we ended up here. This was like the third place that we saw, and we got it at the right price. We got it pretty much on the third day. We said, okay, let's do the deal. Let's take it. It's very close to the beach. It's got everything very, very centralized for us. And yeah, we were kind of having a bit of a laugh about people telling us, oh, you'll never get an apartment for what your budget is, because we set a budget of like 400 euros a month. They said, oh, no, that was, you used to be able to get apartments for that price, but you'll never find an apartment to get to that price. But this apartment had been sitting empty for 2 years. So we come along, we had cash, paid the cash, told them we'll pay up for like 2 years. And yeah, people kind of jump at it when you throw a bit of cash on the table. They tend to come around to your way of thinking. So a very easy move when everybody told us that it was going to be impossible. And now it's time to move on. We originally thought that we would stay here, but the more we talked about it and the more that the type of house and land that we want, it's not really possible here. We want to have a lot of land. We don't really want to have neighbors close by, but we want land. We want to have veggie gardens. We want to have some animals, not a lot of animals, some chickens, and I want a cow and some goats. I'd like a I'd like a beef cow and some pigs, but we'll see. Maybe one day down the line I'll get those type of things. But virtually, we want to be self-sustained. We want to kind of have a hobby farm, because we don't want to farm. We don't want to sell anything. We just want to be self-sustained. So we started to think about, what do we want? What's important to us? Greenery is very important to us. We love the green. Now Cyprus does have some of that, but that's not kind of what we're after. We love the beach, but that's a little bit lower on what we want going forward. We love going to the beach every couple of days and, I'm putting our feet in the water. Even in winter, it's not that cold. It's cold enough, but it's not that cold. Having our coffee, having a chat. We call it the office because we go there and we talk and we plan things out. We don't really plan things out, but we just talk, and we allow freedom of ideas to come, and that. But yeah, so our time here in Cyprus is coming. My wife is going back in 2 weeks' time to find us a place back to Romania. That's where we're going, heading back to. As she's Romanian, she's the one that has to go. I get to stay here, and then when she comes home, she then goes back with Taya. We we booked Taya a flight, so we'll take our dog. That was something that we had to have a serious discussion about, because we didn't know if we what it'd be like to take her, and originally we were told that it was going to cost like 10,000 euros, and we're like, shit, that's a lot of money. And we we're told that we need this and we need that and that, but we ended up finding some cheaper flights for her, and well, I shouldn't say found a cheaper flights, but we did find flights going to back to Romania that wasn't $10,000. So Taya's coming, so my wife's taking Taya back. She's going to stay with a friend of ours in Romania, and then wifey comes back, and we'll pack this place up, and then she'll, and then we'll go back to Romania, and and start our lives there, which is very exciting. It's going to be a different Romania to the Romania that I left 2, 3 years ago. Because when I was there before, when we lived there before, we lived in Bucharest and on the outskirts outskirts of Bucharest. But now we're going to actually go to the country, and we're going to go up more. Well, we don't really have a set plan. We just know it's not going to be in Bucharest, and there's another place that's off limits too. I'm not too sure, I can't remember the name of it, but it's there's a lot of earthquakes there, so we don't want to go there where there's lots of earthquakes. We're going to get some land, and we're going to actually start living the way that we want to live with our ideal life. And that's sort of all come about very quickly. The last couple of weeks, actually, that this decision was made. I think we're very good at that. When we make a decision to do something, we're quick to make the decision, and then we can work out the details. And we kind of always just set our mind to, this is what we're going to do. It's going to be easy. It's going to go well for us. We set good intentions. We have positive thoughts about things, and it's always worked out for us. We've never had any problems with any of our moves without having any dramas at all. It's always gone very smoothly for us, and this time's going to be no different. So yeah, a few more videos here in Romania. Oh, in Romania, in Cyprus, and then I'll show you a completely different background and setting in my videos, which is exciting in itself. I was hoping that some people would be here, because I wanted to ask what their thoughts were on the new style of video that I do. Do you like the walking with the voiceover? I don't know. Hey, how are you, Ricky? I like it. I like doing what I'm doing now. It's a little bit less. Um, it's not less. It's just some different a way to do these videos. I don't know. Eventually, if I get some better microphones or something, because my microphone's very sensitive and it does pick up. Yeah, ask away, Rick. Okay, so I come up with an idea. I rough out what I want to say. Like it's kind of like a thought download, because I'll have an idea that I want to talk about, and so then I'll just write down a whole everything that I think of, like whatever thoughts pop into my head right there and then I'll read back over it, and then I put it into Chat GPT and get it to make some sort of sense of it, and then I go back over it after chat's done, and I'm like, yeah, I want, and then I'll kind of rewrite it myself with no, no, I don't read word for word. I it's just about repetition. I do read it word for word. I do read it a lot, but not while I'm recording, because uh, how do I put this? So I'll have it all running through my head. Like I'll know exactly what I want to do, and then I'll just talk, because I find that I have different ways of saying something, or I'll think of something a little bit different. So then I'll just write that down, and then what I do is I just say it, and then if I don't like it, I'll just go back over and re-record it. There is one video, I can't remember which one it was, that I completely forgot one part of the video, and it didn't make sense. And it wasn't until my wife told me, she's like, "This story doesn't fit in," and and then I watched it again. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't really fit in. Then I realized that was because I forgot the next part that I was supposed to say, and I just moved on. I skipped over something, so I kind of need to keep it structured, but word for word, no, I don't do it word for word. I do write it out word for word just so I can get some sort of sense of balance on it and make sure that I'm saying what I wanted to say. And that's just repetition, just to make sure that you get out what you wanna actually say. Like, I've got a video coming up. It, it's um, hmm, it's a video on 10 things. It'll come out on Monday. You'll have to. Oh, I find it easier, yeah, just to keep my thoughts in order because I still can ramble on a little bit. So this way it keeps me on track. And then if I find myself getting off, because I often, if I allow myself, I'll get it all out of order, and that's how I ended up missing something because, like, in that video, I can't remember what the video was now, but um, because I got on a roll and went through it and through it, and then when I was going back over my script to see which, where am I up to here? What's how am I bringing this home? What's the next part that I want to talk about? I was like, no, no, I said that. I talked about that. So I must be down up to this part here in the video somewhere. So yeah, it's really just to keep it in order, and so it makes sense because it all makes sense to me, but it very rarely uh, makes sense to a lot of other people, I guess. But no, it's not. It's not going off script, but it's not scripted either. Like it's not word for word. I didn't say this word. I didn't say that word. I didn't say this line. I didn't say it the way that I wrote it down. It's no, it's not. I'm not that anal with it. It's just more or less just to keep me on topic. The hardest part that I find about doing what I do now is not to be generic. Like I now watch a lot of other content creators that are doing the same thing that I do in a way, and it doesn't. Yeah, well, the words are the most important thing. That's what I thought. So listening to the stories and that because I find myself a lot of times I don't actually watch videos. Like I do watch YouTube a lot, but most of the time it's just listening to it. I don't really need to see the unless, of course it's a if it's a a show or something that you're watching. I've been watching this series. I got it on my phone because I have a different YouTube. I'll actually show you this. See, uh, I have a different type of screensaver. This is like my vision board as a screensaver. So it's it's quite different, but that's not what I wanted to show you. I might talk about that in a minute. But here's my I'm watching this series, this Great War series at the moment, and because there are some footages there that I like because this has been an interest of mine forever. I've always been very very interested in war history and things like that. So this series is a bit of a break for me. I think I've seen it most of them before, but I just like that shit. So occasionally I do actually watch them, but most of the time when I'm listening to Abraham Hicks, I watch those on YouTube. I don't watch it. I just listen to it. Like I said, I got a bunch of other people on here that uh, that I follow and listen to see what they're talking about and what they're saying, and they're good. They're a lot. They're very good, actually. Another guy's an Australian who's living in Germany, so I support fellow Aussies. Um, but they don't really talk about what I talk about. Like they talk about more in practicality, but they don't give really any examples or tell you how to do it. And for me, I'm a massive believer in you have the ability, like if you have a positive mindset and you think that more in the way of fun and that you can do it and really be positive about yourself, there's nothing that you can't accomplish. Like it's been such a change just over these few months of me doing these videos. Like I remember in the early days, like early days, like talking about like years ago, but I remember back in November when I started it off, I really only had an idea on what the first video was going to be, and that was just an introduction to me. After that, I didn't really know, and then I was starting to watch some other creators, and who were over the age of 40, and they were talking about 40 or starting over 40 and how to do YouTube over 40. I was like, oh, okay, maybe I can do that because I'm over 40. I started YouTube, but I'm not a how-to guy. I don't, not interested in that. People have been asking me if I'm going to do a statistical type of video of what I've achieved in this 101-day challenge, which ends in about 2 weeks' time. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to have to, but I don't actually know what I'm going to say in it because I don't file all those statistics. I don't even know how to get all those pages open. I can see my follower count. I can see how many views on my videos I get, how many watch hours I've got. But other than that, I don't know anything about those things. So those type of things just weren't really all that interested in me. But it wasn't until the video where I talked about fear of the camera, because I felt different. Like I was like not scared of the camera. I'm scared of what the camera, or not scared, but I don't like what the camera catches. I never was I wasn't comfortable in watching my own videos. So if I wasn't comfortable listening to myself talk and watching myself, then I had a hard time imagining anybody else would. So that was probably my breakthrough video. It's one of the worst ones I did because I fucked up the sound badly on it because I had the microphone pointing inwards and it was muffled and it wasn't the best quality of sound. I'll probably have to do another one of those videos, but um, yeah, that was the breakthrough video for me. That was where I kind of released and relaxed and could then come here and talk. I could keep doing those and talking about the same things that I want to talk about now because they're very, very personal to me. I'm a big guy on language, uh, picking up on negative language that people don't consider is negative. They think that they're talking positively. They think that they got the mindset, warriors type of mindset, I guess, where I'm going to get it done, and for me, it's like, nah. If you come at it from a different direction, you'll find this shit's much easier. Like, I love people that watch my videos. There was a great comment that I received on my video just the other day of like, your videos are, or it was kind of like not underrated, but not shown enough. Like you give really good information, and I can't believe that nobody's seen them. Like your video should be seen, and that was at a time where I was getting down. You could do it. A good way to start, Rick. Oh, not a good way to start. I don't want to do like pressure or anything, but I think that's why I've gone to this style now. Like I can just walk around and film, and then I've got time to really collect my thoughts, and I don't have that pressure of having to speak directly to the camera. And I have that idea in my head that I can just speak, and I don't have to worry about staring at the camera. I don't have to worry about any sort of those type of things. Depending on what you want to talk about, the background itself, I don't think is all that important. Um, it'd be nice if you had something to look at, but for me, it's the words. It's what people are saying. That's the most important part. That's what I listen for because I'm there to learn something. I'm not writing on a blackboard like when you were at school and you had to look at something. Nearly everything I learn for is through the ears, and and then that gives me ideas. I was listening to Ramdas earlier today, not that long ago, a couple of hours ago, and he was talking about losing his luggage, and I get that, but I don't fully agree with it, and I don't like to say anything like that. Like, yeah, I get it. There's lots of things going on in everybody's life, but the thing for me is if it's important to you, you always find the time to do what you want to do. And that's just sort of, to me, that's an excuse. I'm not picking on you or wanting to put you down or anything, but if you went through your whole day, and this was something that I did a long, long time ago, and this one come from Bob Proctor. He's like, document your day, do it for a couple of weeks. Breakfast time, say you spend half an hour at breakfast, then you spend 9 hours at work, then you do this, and then you do that. But then when you really look back on it and you go, what was really, really important? Where could I find half an hour? Where do I see that there's a little bit of wasted time? Because we all waste time. And then we say there's no time. I'm out of time. I've got too much going on. I'm too busy. But if you really did go back and look at it, you're like, yeah, I do waste a few hours every day just doing nothing, or you're always doing something. That's another thing that is not true because you are always doing something. You just look at those ones and go, "What do I really need to do that? Was that important for me to do?" You know, I appreciate you being here, but it could be 10 minutes. It could be 10 minutes that you start playing out your channel instead of watching my live. Not, you know what I'm saying? Like, does that make sense? And then it's just a matter of, it just becomes part of you and your schedule. When it becomes important or when it's something that really, really has to do, you'll find it. It'd be no different now. Like if I don't know, what's a good example of something unexpected popping up and you just went and did it? You're like, yeah, deep down, deep down, and that's the nature of the beast. Like the mind is such an interesting thing to learn. It really is like you'll find excuses left, right, and center, and you don't even have to go looking for them. They'll be there, ready to jump in to defend you and keep you happy. It was kind of like I was talking about in my last video um, that I uploaded yesterday about going forward with the weight loss. I seem to be lagging a little bit. Um, yeah, because there's a part of your mind. It's in the front lobe here, and I have to go and do a little bit more study and research on it because it's been a while and I've forgotten some of the terms. But it's like this part of your brain is to make you happy, and where are you happy? Generally, where you're happy is right now. And it's like anything that you're like, oh, I'm gonna have to shuffle this around. I'm gonna have to do this. Gonna have to give this away. And your brain just goes, no, 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 no. That's not our happy place. Our happy place is doing this. And I kind of I recognize it now. And every time, and this is where they talk about stepping out of your comfort zone, but not many people explain it right. Or, in my opinion, they don't explain it that well about stepping out of your comfort zone because most people think it's to do something that you're not used to doing. No, it's just about what you think, man. That's all it is. Like, because your part of your brain is going to like want to keep you here because this is what you know. This is where you feel safe. This is pretty much your happy place. And then when you go, no, I don't want to do this no more, that part of your brain is like, nah, 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 come back here, stay here. This is safe. This is nice. We'll be happy here, even though the rest of your brain's saying, "No, I'm not happy. I don't like this. Let's get out of here." No, 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 no. It doesn't work that way. So you really have to kind of backdoor it a little bit and change the way that you talk about those things. And what do we got here? Thinking about starting because you've got so many paralyzed. So like that type of language, and when you say those things, it keeps you paralyzed and it keeps you where you are because that's your that's your happy brain putting up all sorts of roadblocks for you to gain that happiness, and then you go, well, okay, but I'm really busy, so I don't really have the time to commit to it, and then the you know more and more and more come. Maybe they don't keep coming because maybe you're happy with I don't have enough time and I get paralyzed. So that'll be enough. That's enough to put up the roadblocks. Don't worry, man. I've been there and I've done it many and many a times. I uh I remember back in my mining days, and my boss come to me and he wanted me to get on an actual a bigger a bigger digger. So I can operate an excavator and I could the biggest one that I operated was a 994, and the next one up was a 996. And I went up and sat in it with an experienced operator, and it's like you sit on a 10-meter bench, and then you're 10 meters up there, so you're like 20 meters up in the air, and I hated it. But my boss was like, "You got to do it. Like I need you to do it." And I'm like, "Huh? It's too scary. I don't want to do it." And I was like paralyzed. I was like, and then he eventually said, "No, all right, you don't have to do it." He's like, "What do you want to do?" And I'm like, "I just want to drive a truck. I don't want to even drive a digger no more. I didn't like it." But that was, I'd put that fear in there because when I was sitting up there and the operator walked off a bench, and you tilt like 90 degrees down virtually to get off the thing. No, no good. Didn't like it one little bit. And I'm like, I just want to go back to where I'm comfortable. I don't want to do that. I'm much more comfortable over here. And he's like, well, I don't have a digger for you to drive. I'm like, that's fine. Yeah, yeah. So many. I never worked in Western Australia, but I knew a lot of people that did go over to the West, and if they didn't go to Thailand, they went to Bali because it was actually cheaper to go to Thailand or to Bali when they'd come back from the mines from there. Back then, we actually they used to do 6 on, 6 off, like 6 weeks on, 6 weeks off. They don't do that anymore, but that's what it used to be. And they used to tell me that it's cheaper to go to Bali or Thailand than it is to fly back to Sydney or to the East Coast. So it was even cheaper to go to Thailand than it was to rent a property in Perth. So they were like, we don't even have a house. We just get off, we get off of Perth, jump on another plane, and go to Thailand for 6 weeks, or Bali, depending on what they wanted to do. But same, nearly the same amount of flying hours as it is from West Australia to back to the East Coast. So yeah, I understood it. It's like, yeah, why wouldn't you go to Bali or why wouldn't you go to Thailand? Can't live it up there for 6 weeks, and then you have to go back to the dusty old mines. But and they reckon it was cheaper. They had a ball, so they yeah. My guy, single and money to spend. Definitely had money to spend. They got paid. They got paid massively. I looked into it. Oh, I reckon that I was, I don't know, 6 or 7 years into my mining career, and I loved where I worked, and I was getting paid big money myself because it was really in the middle of the boom at that time, and I was earning over 150 grand a year, and there was so many people going, "Oh, I'm leaving this place because this mine over here, they're paying 170, or I'm going to the west, they're paying 200 grand or 250 grand for." They're paying like, oh, hang on a sec, I need to plug in my laptop. Um, yeah, some of the mines back then for a experienced digger operator, that's excavator, but we just call them diggers. Yeah, they're paying like 250 grand a year for an experienced digger driver. You'd be crazy not to do it. And then like go for a holiday in Thailand every 6 weeks. I can see the appeal. I honestly did think about it, but at that time I was really, really happy with the place that I was working at. Like I thought that that was going to be my home forever. Like, I thought I was a thief guy forever. I was like, oh, doesn't matter about the money. Like, yeah, I could probably earn more money, but well, I definitely could have earned more money. But I love it here. Like, we had such a tight knit group of blokes that I work with. We had a reasonably small crew. I think there was like only 50 of us on shift, so everybody got along really well. Like, we really enjoyed going to work with each other. So I was like, nah, I'm not leaving here. A few people did, but I was never gave it a serious thought until the until the cycle turned, and then they started doing some layoffs, and by that stage I was hating the place. So I took a redundancy and moved on. But yeah, maybe I should have got out when the going was good and went and collected all that cash that was on offer at the time. Probably could have been one of your guys going, being rich and going there, single, money to spend. Because I was single and I did have money to spend. Never had a problem in spending it either. But easy come, easy go. As if you saw any of my most expensive mistakes, all of those happened during my mining career because it was just easy money, single, didn't really care too much. I knew that there was few grand coming into my bank account in the next week, so didn't matter. But if you were to make a channel, Rick, what you thinking? What do you want to make it on? I'm waiting. Thought I'd bring out the my most prized possession, my Canberra Raiders vintage rugby league jersey, back when the Raiders were the mighty Green Machine. I'm pretty sure this year they won the Canberra Milk with the Canberra Milk on front of it, the 1994 version. We won the premiership that year. Nice. Move back to Thailand and show Spanish guys. It's always, I think that's always a, like, yeah, those type of things are really, um, they're good. They really are. I find those things very helpful, very informative, very helpful, and I think a lot of guys would, a lot of people would find those type of videos to be quite helpful, and you could actually make it quite a good business out of that too, because then you can help them when they get there, and sort of set up all their needs. They're always impressive. So your channel would be in Spanish, I would safely assume. It is. Is that for like even for Spanish people? Like, it's been a long time since I've heard anything about Spain. Last, I know that, where was it? I think it was Barcelona. They weren't real happy with tourists there, even though that's what keeps them going. But and then before that, the Spanish government was broke. Is that true? I'm only going off memory of some things that I heard here and there, because I don't really know. I actually love Spain. I love your culture. I think that you have such a way of living. I think it's amazing. I love your food too. It's actually now that it's really come to the front of my mind is doing the El Camino again. Like, it kind of went away for a couple of years. It was something that we were very close to doing. So close, in fact, I had the walking poles and backpack and everything ready to go. And I can't remember what happened, but why we didn't do it. Might have been COVID, and then it kind of got put on the back burner. But it's starting to burn right now. So we're looking forward to settling back into Romania, and then getting ready for El Camino, where we get to walk across Spain virtually. What are they like for self-employed? Hmm. I think you have to. you have to really work it out yourself now with retirement. It doesn't seem like many governments are there to, or they don't want to continue that into the future, but they don't want to pay anymore, even though you would think it was their money, not your money that you've given them over a lifetime, and then they have to give some back to you. They seem to think that it's their money and they don't get to, you don't get it anymore. It's like taxations and spending habits of governments has really, really changed. Really. Yeah. That sucks. Because when you think about it, like what a like, Spain's a republic now. Like you haven't had a ruling king for a long time, but what, since the 1930s, so nearly 100 years since you got rid of your. Because it wasn't that what your civil war was about back in before World War Two. Like it was royalists versus, well, Franco, really, if I'm not mistaken. I never, yeah, it's so hard because like government's supposed to be for the people, and all they do is want to like screw everybody over as much as possible, and so they can just spend money. And it's crazy because it doesn't really seem like most governments spend money for the betterment of people. I was watching, well, not watching, but I was reading something back from back home in Australia, like uh, this minister. Oh, they were talking about employment figures and how they had created. I don't know what was the number, but it was over 600,000 jobs. They're like, we're doing a really good job. We've created over 600,000 jobs in this financial quarter. And then the stats come out, and 550,000 of them were government jobs. So you didn't create shit. Well, technically you did create something, but you didn't create anything because there's nothing new to the economy. Now all you're doing is servicing people that don't need it. You're giving them jobs that aren't jobs. Yeah, yeah, it is. A lot of people don't see it, don't care, or just it's a complete mess. You're either rich or you're poor. I can understand that. That's kind of like why the life that my wife and I want to live is completely void of all that. Like we want to be self-sustained. We want to go and just have property, and we can have our own veggies and our own stuff. As long like even to the point of uh, being off the grid electricity wise, like yeah, we really want to drop out of society. We don't want to be relying on anybody. We don't want any sort of government interference. We just want to live our life, make sure that we've got enough money to sustain ourselves. We're not looking for to scrimp and scratch our claw our way around. Just leave us alone. And I think there's a lot of people out there like that too. They just want to be left alone. Like so much, too much government, and it just, I don't know. I don't really. When you think about it like that, like yeah, yeah, people don't want to know. Financial advisor, the financial advice that nobody takes advice, takes the advice. This is how you get ahead. No, 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 I don't want to do that. It's pretty funny, but sad at the same time. I don't know why people wanna I understand. Like, I get not wanting to get involved in it, but then I don't know why people complain about it. So, well, if you're not willing to do anything to change or be part of anything, then this is what you get. So difficult now because I really have stepped out of that um, that way of being and worrying about those things. I just want to worry about myself and my little family, my wife and my dog. That's all I care about. And I know it sounds sad, and that's probably not the right thing to say, but in my own little way, this is what my channel's about, and this is what I talk about. Like, if if you can help yourself, well, then eventually, if enough people can think the same way and act the same way, then you're going to force change just by the sheer numbers of people thinking differently. So that's my little contribution, just because of the things that I now understand, things that I've known for a long time, but I didn't really understand them, or I was too ignorant, too proud, and said that I understood them when quite, or not quite literally, but I didn't. I thought that I had it in practice, but I didn't. So that's it's good. No, I think that's how you make changes. That's something that I've heard a lot. Like, if you want to make a change in this world, you got to change yourself, and then that's the best place to start helping others is by you being the change. It's a lot more difficult to convince someone else to change, but it's kind of like that. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Why can't you be? It sounds like a pretty broad question, but one thing that I learned, and this was something that again that I found the answer to nearly 6 years ago. Well, it was 6 years ago. There were so many obstacles that I put in my way, like um, when I was ah yeah, that's a good one. Ah, little man. I don't want to push into it in a public chat, but yeah, that's a fairly good reason why you just can't do it if he can't come with you. That's one thing that's I can't really speak about. There's I don't have any kids and never had any. Yeah, well, if I don't have any, I could never have had any. But yeah, that's one thing that I'm not um, able to really get into and talk about, like what it's like to do the things that you want to do when you have children. It's kind of an argument, or I can't get into a debate around those things because I can't. I don't have that. I don't have the. Yeah, I just don't have it. So you can't tell people what to do or how that you can do whatever you want when they come with things like that. Like I have a son that's 8 years old and I can't leave him. Yeah, there may be a way, and that's the type of thinking that I encourage. Not like I would like to be in Thailand right now playing the guitar and recording video, but I can't do it because of my son. Like if you start to think more positively or think of different ways and sort of like putting those big, I can't do it because of my son. Just stick with the first part, like I want to be there, and then see what sort of comes, because you never know. That's the crazy thing about law of attraction and the laws of the universe. They will get you what you want, and they will get it to you somehow. But when you say I can't do it, well, if you can't do it, you can't do it. Nothing, not like it's all those moving parts will just seize up, and you stay where you are. 10 years, nice, nice. I was going to tell you, like, yeah, when I decided to move from Australia to Romania, there was lots of things that in the beginning that I was like, oh, it's not really, I can't really do it. I can't. I'm not, I was renovating the house. The house not finished being renovated. I can't leave it. I can't sell it how it is, or if I do sell it, it's going to be cheap. I need to stay here and do this. I don't have quite enough money in the bank. I can't obviously relate to you with it being like a son, but I can say like all the roadblocks that I tried to put in my way of why I couldn't do things, and I think that's more harmful. And that sort of stops those good things that you want to come in, because you're always planning on them. Like, yeah, you got 10 years of preparing your retirement for Thailand. You're like, man, if you just go with it instead of putting conditions and putting roadblocks, just keep thinking, I'm going to Thailand. This is what I'm going to be. I'm going to record videos. I'm going to play the guitar. I'm going to be doing these and this is that and all those wonderful things. If you just hold on to that thought, you don't know how the universe is going to go about getting you there. And your son might not be that roadblock. He might not be, he might be included in it. You just don't know how it all works out. But because you don't know how it works out, you're like, I can't do it because I have a son. So then it's all over. There's nothing that can be done, is there? But there's always something that can be done, not by you, but you just don't know what opportunities will arise on how to get those things that you want until you let go of all the what I like to call what I do call the roadblocks. You don't have to say I've got 10 years, because you know what's what's the universe going to do? It's going to go, oh, well, I guess we're on holidays for 10 years. What else do you want in between? Well, I just need to prep for my retirement in 10 years' time when my son's 18, and then I'll be free and I can go. Okay, see you in 10 years. Good idea for a video anyway. I'll have to think about this a little bit more and see if I can come up with a little bit more wisdom and sort of teach us um, how to free yourself, because it you just don't know. But when you start putting conditions and thinking logically and thinking practically, and then you come up with reasons why something can't work. because the more you think about these things, the more you will find a way that it doesn't. Because at the moment, all roads lead back to you can't go because you've got an 8-year-old son. So, and then what's the solution to that? Wait till he turns 18 and he's an adult, and then I can go. There's no more possibilities. There's nothing more else to do. So you're out of the game. You really are out of that attraction mode. If you just keep it to the things that you want, I want this, I want this, but without putting that sort of emotional pressure on it, and really, what's the word that I'm looking for here? Expecting it, or not expecting it, getting disappointed when it doesn't come. Like you wake up in the morning and you say something positive, and you're like, when you wake up, you do a little visualization of what it'd be like to be playing your guitar on Phuket Island while recording a video, and you can sit there for 10 minutes, and then the rest of the day goes about. Then the next day you're like, still not in Thailand, still not there. And then you kind of like get a bit down on it, you get a bit lost in it, and you're like, yeah, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen anytime soon. But like I said to you, like, or like I said in the beginning of this live, like, it was funny. My wife and I just spoke about how good, and we sort of visualized it, and we were loving it, and we were having fun with it. Like, how good would it be to live on an island? Like, we want to live on an island. That'd be awesome. And then we kind of forgot about it. Like, we just, we still spoke about it occasionally. Yeah, yeah. Wouldn't mind living that island. Sounds pretty good. Get away from this place. Like, it's cold and horrible. Get away from here. Like, this is no good. How good would it be to be living on that island? And then what do we know? 3 years later, we're living on an island. And I said to my wife, I said, it's not calm, not light, not shit. This is why I talk about scripting things out, because then I get a little bit tongue tied because I'm trying to speak too fast. Um, it's not the tropical islands that we kind of envisioned when we were talking about living on an island. I think both of us, well, I know for sure, I was thinking Fiji, like that type of island, or Hawaii, or somewhere in the in the middle, very tropical. But we didn't actually say that. We just said how good it would be to be living on an island. And 3 years later, here we are. We're living on an island, and then we're like, when we're leaving the island, we're like, it's pretty funny because the way these events unfolded, like we spoke about it, we said, yes, we really want this. It'd be great. We want to live on an island. Hang on, we're living on an island. Not too sure how it works. Yeah, so those type of things aren't going to help you when you're pissed and you're rumbling. You got to keep it positive. You got to keep it light. You got to just believe believe in the dream, and that's really his. If you can picture it, it may take the 10 years. You don't know. I don't know. Might not. But that's one of the things. You don't know when these things are going to turn up. I certainly didn't expect that we'd be living here in Cyprus, but we said we wanted to live on an island. Events back home turned out while we were here on the island, we had to find somewhere else to live, and we went, hey, like it here, let's come back here. And that's how we moved here. And we even made a joke of that. Like, imagine if we were somewhere else and we went, oh, well, let's just move back here. I don't know, not an island, but anywhere in the world. But no, if you think about it, or if you think about it like this, we were put in the right place. Then this event happened while we were in this place, which ended up leading us to living where we wanted to live. And that's not the only thing. We actually went through our vision boards from a while, long time ago, like 5 years ago, and we counted how many things on those vision boards we actually had. One day we're walking through a park, and I don't know how the conversation come around, but we were like, it did with it. It's pretty funny. Nearly everything on those vision boards have come true. There was a couple that didn't come true. One nearly come true. One was about children, but unfortunately, when we were living in Portugal, my wife had to have an emergency abortion kind of thing. Like, wasn't really an abortion, but if she didn't get the baby taken out, she was going to die. So yeah, that happened. But that was on our vision board to have children, but yeah, that kind of got taken away from us. But it nearly happened. Kind of like we're like, yeah, yep. The laws are everything was coming to us that we're asking for. This one didn't quite make it, but they did try to give it to us. Maybe we turned it away somehow, but yeah, it's amazing. It really is when you think about things and in a more positive way. Yeah, like I said, like it's not so much about trying. Like at the end of the day, all you need to do when it comes to planning something out is when there's an opportunity there, and then you have to work out how to make it happen. Like how it comes to you really isn't. Hey, sunshine, evening. Um, yeah, how it comes to you isn't really in your control. It doesn't have to be in your control. You don't have to control that part. You can just let it come to you. And then you can decide, yeah, we can make this work. Now let me work out how I'm going to make it work. And that's what I think a lot of people get confused about because they hear these words like manifestation and if you can dream it, you can have it. Well, yeah, it can arrive, but then you have to work out the details. Like you have to work out how to actually make it work for you. It doesn't come to you with a bow around it like uh, hey, and that's just how it kind of has to work. Like you can reject it, or you can then get to work and go, maybe let me let me see. There's this opportunity. What are we? How are we going to make it work for us? And like I said, that's exactly how it worked out here to move here. We were here. We got news that we had to move. We went, like it here. Let's come back here. Looked looked on the nah. That's not right. Um, you don't. No, that kind of takes away everything. Like I said, there's a point where you come in with a plan, but it doesn't start before you have anything because you don't know what you're planning for. But that's fine. Yeah, so that's what I was saying. Like, yeah, it just worked out that way. We were here. We always knew that we wanted to live on an island. We were living on an island. We worked it out. People told us that there's no way in the world that you're ever going to get an apartment or any sort of house in Cyprus for the money that you want, which was we wanted to spend 400 euros. We ended up getting this place for 375 when the original asking price was 700. So we actually did get it off. And they said, you'll never get it in 10 days. There's no way ever. Where are you going to live? Because there's no way you're ever going to get in a place. We got this place in 3 days. Why? Because we set those intentions. We said we're going to get it. Doesn't matter what, we're going to get it. We'll have this. We'll have a place, and we'll have it at the price that we want to have it at. Didn't know what the fuck, but where it was going to be, what it was going to look like. That wasn't up to us. And hey, look, we got a 2-bedroom apartment, maybe a kilometre away from the beach for less money. I don't know where the plan is there. Like, the plan was that when the time came, we had a decision to make. Are we going to do this? And we decided right there and then on the spot. Opened up the app to get airfares. Oh, look at that! These airfares are only $18 on the 16th of February. Beautiful. Oh, yeah. Let's do it. Went home, same thing. Packed up the house, sold some stuff, had no dramas at all. And that's all because we had a plan. Plan was to go home, pack our stuff, move back here. We had some stuff to sell back there, sold it easily, not a problem. Move back here, everything. That was all the plan was. We're going to get what we want. Well, we're talking about more like mindset and letting the laws of the universe work for you instead of working against you. And yeah, you always, that's kind of part of the vision. That's part of the uh, something that you want. I don't know if you can call it a goal if you want. You can just call it what you want, which is a goal, I guess. Like, you want something, but at the end of the day, like I said, we said we'd like to live on an island. We'd love to live on an island. How good would it be to live on an island? We pictured it, but we never actually set out and planned it, and we never actually had a goal like this is it. This is our goal, is to go and live on an island somewhere. We just said how great it would be. Imagine living there, and that's what we did. And then, the universe sort of moved in its ways and did its things. A couple of years later, we were living on an island. So, yeah, a little bit different. Like I said, I gotta work on this a little bit, and I'll probably make a video about it so I can explain it a little bit better, because it's quite easy, but it's also quite difficult because our brains are wired to think that you have to plan, and that's because of all the information that we've been given so far. Yeah, well, they do. Think about what your goals were 20 years ago. I know my goal 20 years ago was to retire at 55, work my whole life in the mines. I thought I had the best job in the world. I hated it, but it paid the most money that I was ever going to make. My plan was to retire at 55. Hmm. How life has changed. So yeah, don't plan too far ahead. Goals change. My goals, that's all my goal was. Own my house, retire early, probably go to the pub with my mates. Kind of like the things that I saw from my parents and my friends' parents live that type of life. Spend Saturday afternoon down the pub, having a bet, having a beer. But another goal of mine was, or it wasn't a goal, it was a dream. And I think people get a little bit confused about this too. My dream was to travel Europe, live in Europe. I always wanted to do that since I was a teenager. That's why I loved history. I loved European history, and I just wanted to come over here and live it and soak it all up. I wanted to live in villages and have that kind of image in my head that I'd built up all those years of what I'd like to live in a Spanish or a Italian village. Well, I can tell you, it wasn't a goal, it was a dream, and yeah, here I am living it. Another dream was to live on an island. I know I moved from an island, but Australia's a pretty big fucking island. I was thinking a little bit smaller. Now lived in Cyprus. I lived in Europe. They weren't necessarily goals, but they were dreams, and they were things that I wanted. And you know, I guess even talking about those things, like um, when I said in the video about life changing at 40, for a full year, I spoke about that I didn't know what it was going to do, but I'm like, something's going to change at 40. Like, life's really going to start for me at 40. And I think that that's what sort of activated all that European talk, because it's something that I wanted to do pretty well, much like I said, for since I was a teenager. And then I started saying, something's going to change at 40. Well, what happened at 40? I started talking to a European girl online about how to set up an Amazon store. And then we just hit it off. Next thing, a couple of months later, where am I? Oh, fuck, Paris, Europe, living in. Then what? Less than a year later, I'm living in Europe, and I've traveled around and seen everything. I've lived in villages. I'm actually living the dream life that I was dreaming about for 20 years. But I never set a goal to it. I never went, oh, this. I told you what my goal was. Like, it was a dream. My goal was, for those years, continue working the mines, earn as much money as I can, own my house, retire early, and do nothing. Be one of those old guys that sits on the front porch and yells at the neighborhood kids. That's kind of what I kind of expected life to be like. Yet here I am getting to live the dream, or my dream. I'm doing everything that I want to do, and now I like I wanted to share, and I wanted to help people see that these things are possible. And it's not through action so much. It's not through hard work. It's not through planning. It's not through forcing it. It's about how you think about it. And, you know, I went down that road when I was thinking about coming to Paris. Like, I couldn't do it. I put up so many reasons to why it couldn't happen until the young lady who's now my wife said to me, "I don't care. Stop overthinking it. Just say this is what you want and let it happen." And well, fuck me. Did it happen? I still don't really know too much about how it happened. It was like I was planning and figuring things out, trying to figure things out, trying to work out finances. Like, oh shit, how am I going to afford this? How do I keep paying the house off because if by that stage in my life, if I didn't work, I didn't get paid, I was a contractor. I'm like, how am I going to take 2 weeks off? So I need to actually get not just 2 weeks in front. I have to get a month in front in a couple of months. I don't know how I'm going to do it. And you know what happened? I got actually paid back pay because they had not paid me and I hadn't paid any attention, and they found out that they owed me holiday pay and back pay, and they hadn't been paying me at the right rate for several months or a year or something. So then they back paid me just like as I'm booking all my trips and working out how I'm going to do all this shit. Oh, look, an influx of money that I didn't know was coming my way right when I needed it. Amazing. Nobody can believe that those things happen. They're like, oh, you're just lucky. That just happened. Like, it's a fluke. Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, but you're kind of missing the point. And it's all in your brain. You don't need structure in your brain. You don't need to find, you know, left to your own devices. That's about what happens on the outside, what actions you take, the way you think, being positive, things are going to work out for me. No problems here. Everything's going to be fine. Life's, I'm happy. That's all it is. And get out of your own way. And then this is putting yourself in your own way. Oh no, I need to be structured. I need to have the shackles on at all times. Otherwise, left to my own devices, things go awry. As long as you're happy doing it, you can like still going to get you where you want to go. But does it make you happy? Like true happiness? I don't know. That's the thing. There's no one way to do it. There's no right or wrong way of doing it. It's whatever works for you, whatever path or whatever you choose to do. If it makes you happy and you're like happy with yourself and happy with what your days are like, that's all that counts at the end of the day. If you hate it, makes life a bit more problematic. I really like thanks, Ricky. It was great having a chat to you again. And I'll be here for the next 2 Saturdays, and then I'm not too sure about the third because I'm not too sure where I'll be. I might be still here, but I'll let you all know. Have a great night, my man. Thanks for coming. It's been a great chat. I've had fun. I might wrap it up myself. Been here for an hour and a half. That's pretty long enough. But um, yeah, my wife will want to come out shortly. Yeah, that's good, sunshine. Like true happiness. A lot of people don't even know what that means until something clicks, and you're like, because like happiness is just a state of mind. Thanks. How do you like the new format? Do you like the walk, like me walking and doing the voiceover and the just talking? Because I was telling Ricky earlier, I was like, I think the words are more important than what you see on the screen. I think it's pretty boring. It's good for these lives, but it's pretty boring watching a video where nothing's really happening. At least, at least if you do watch the video, there's some sort of scenery, things moving in the background, and you can hear me. I think they're a lot clearer. Actually, look forward. I just remembered that I have to make a video on relationships. Somebody asked me to make a thanks. It's always, that's where the proof in the pudding is because I thought I rambled too much. I didn't think that I was a great storyteller, and that's a story that I've told myself, and that I'm not very good at telling stories. And that's slowly changed, and that's thanks to you guys, like everybody that tells me, "Oh, I love your stories. I love the way that you go, like just tell the story," and that sort of brings me a little bit more confidence and a little bit more joy, and I listen to it. Yeah, cool. Is there anything that you would like to? I thought about this today. I thought people that come to the live and ask, is there any sort of topic or anything that they would like to? Because I've experienced a lot in my life, and I can generally put a story to any sort of situation or any sort of thought. I have to do one on relationships. I was asked about it, and I did forget about it. I have a video to do on relationships. Is there any sort of things that you'd like to? That would be pretty fun, actually. I've actually got an idea on pretty good idea on what I'm going to say about that, because up until recently, I was shit at relationships, but things are sort of this year fallen into place for me, and things make much more sense. And talking about them is helping greatly. But yeah, if you've got an idea of anything that you want me to talk about, happy to happy to get to work and put something put something together. What do you think of my beard trim? My wife told me that I was looking like a homeless person. My beard was starting to get way out of control. And I was telling her that I wanted to have a big bush ranger beard, like, down here, and big bushy beard. And she's like, no, 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 you can't have a big bushy beard. And I'm like, yeah, spewing. So she got the scissors out and hacked it all off on me. Left enough. She likes pulling me by the beard like that. Funny, 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 funny. All right, that'll probably just about do me, because it's now 10 o'clock. Oh, here we go. Yeah. What type of metal band? What type of metal are we talking about there? Because that could mean, like, you mean heavy metal, death metal? What type of metal? Air metal? I don't know if that's still a thing. I love new metal. I actually been listening to grunge. Yep. Soulfly. Oh, Soulfly. Hmm. Now, forgive my ignorance, but wasn't that what was his name? Um, I forgot the lead singer's name. That was the lead. That was the lead singer from Sepultura new band, wasn't it? Or when he left Sepultura, didn't he name his band Soulfly? Am I right? Pantera, Nirvana, Primus. Yeah. Am I right? What was his name? It wasn't Max. It was my best friend. Was he loved him? I just can't remember. I actually just saw a TikTok where I'm assuming it's Dave Grohl. His daughter was singing um, about a boy. Is that the name of the Nirvana song? Max. Yeah, it was Max. Yeah, been a long time since I've listened to Not Pantera. I was only listening to Pantera the other day. I loved their Cowboys from Hell album, and what was the other one? They had two big albums, Cowboys from Hell and uh, too much for me. I can't remember. That's it. Vulgar display of power. Cool. So, what are you? Um, you're a singer. What instrument, or what do you play? Singer and lead. Nice. You got any music on here, or you put them on YouTube? Or send me a link to somewhere where I can have a listen. Cyborg. That's a that's a name. Do you gig around? What's the what's the live music scene in the UK like? I didn't hear the other week that yeah. Hmm. Such a shame. It was like that in Australia. Like growing up, well, not so much the 80s for me because I was only a kid in the 80s, but when I got of age, like we had so many great bands that would show up to just the pub, all sorts of venues and that where you can go and catch live music. By the time I left Australia, like, it's pretty dead. Like there was just nobody wanted to put live music on anymore. My local only on a Saturday night, and they didn't have bands or anything like that. They just some dudes croning away in the corner, like yeah. I'm 46 this year, so we're awfully of the same generation. Best years of metal. What do you think of Oasis getting back together? And I don't know what they're doing. If they're doing a tour or just a one-off concert. Do you like Oasis? I liked Oasis. I like I liked Oasis more than no, I like Pearl Jam. Pearl Jam and Oasis more than I like Nirvana. Wasn't a big fan of Nirvana, except for their um, MTV Live or Unplugged album. I thought that was brilliant. But I did like Oasis. I do like Oasis. Yeah, yeah, that's true. They do play a lot. They do play a lot better. Oh, out of you know smaller venues. I still remember. Um, one of the first concerts I ever went to as an over 18-year-old was only a small venue, and the Angels played. And to this day, I've seen lots and lots of stadium or stadium concerts, like so many of them, and I still reckon that was the best concert I ever went to was at the local bowling club in the auditorium where there was like I don't know a couple of hundred people. And the Angels were playing. Such a great night, better than those stadium ones. I actually been listening to Oasis a bit lately. I don't know what brought me back to them, but just the last few days I've started to listen to them again. It's like, yeah. For some unknown reason, I wanted to listen to Little by Little, and then I just started listening to all of them. I love that. I think actually my favorite Oasis song is "All Around the World." Great songs. Ah. All right then, sunshine. I got to rock and roll because it's getting late here, and got to get going. But thanks for coming, and Blur. I'll tell you a quick Blur story. When I was bef- before, oh yeah, well before, I was only like 18 or 19 at the time, and I was working in this engineering shop, and the welders out the back, they used to just crank, and all you'd hear every 5 minutes was, what was it, song two. You know, that's all you'd hear those boys doing back then. No, no, no. Her and the dog. Dog's over here sighing and looking at me all pitiful, like, how long are you gonna be? She gives me about an hour or so, and then she's like, you've had enough. But yeah, thanks, thanks for coming and having a chat. It's been great. And if you do have any ideas and anything that you want to talk about, drop them in the chat sometime and send me a message, and I'll get on it. You too, man. Enjoy your Saturday. Enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy February. We're in February. New first day of Feb. Going to be a great month. Right, my man. Talk to you soon.